Hello, am I audible? Can someone confirm? Hello.
Yes, you're audible.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Vaibhav Pratap Singh, your host for the day. Along with me, I have Adil as a co-host. We welcome you all in this amazing and very informative webinar on data structures and algorithms. A lot of beginners and experienced programmers avoid learning data structures and algorithms because it's complicated, and they think that there is no use of all the above stuff in real life. But DSA plays a major role in implementing software and in the hiring processes as well. To give more light on this, we have Mr. Siddhartha Sir. He is an accomplished competitive programmer with great teaching skills. He is a senior developer engineer and a mentor at Geeksforgeeks. He is a candidate master in code courses. He has been a part of ACM ICPC Regionalist 2020. He has solved more than 2,000 plus problems across all platforms. Mr. Siddharth, sir, are you there?
Yeah. So just Siddharth is
Hello, sir.
absolutely
Over to
fine.
you.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. So just a bit of correction. I'm not a senior developer. I'm an SDU intern at Geeksforgeeks. Okay. So we have interesting name. By the way, this name round table, who is he? You're having a wonderful name, by the way, brother. Okay. So
Okay, sir.
everyone can access the chat or they can't access. Okay, they can access the chat. Okay. So now during the session, I want this to be interactive a little bit because if I keep talking after a certain point of time, you would feel that क्या बोलते रह रहा है, नींद आ रहा है and stuff. Okay, so keep asking questions and queries. Okay, so let me start without any further ado. So let me just share my screen just a sec. Okay, so I need to again rejoin. Okay, please just I'm just rejoining again. Yeah, here we go. So am I audible? Can someone just confirm if I'm audible or not?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Thanks a lot, Abhay Pratap Singh. Okay, so okay, so I hope my screen is visible. So let's start right away. By the way, only Abhay Pratap has turned on his video. So if possible, and if you are comfortable enough, you all can turn on your video if possible. Okay, and students भी काफी कम है, so let's do it in an easy way. Okay, so we have most talked about language. So let us first, what would be the flow? We would first talk about what are the different languages we can consider. Then we would say that if you have not selected a language, which language to consider. Then we would note it how much extent you should know a language to start practicing on any online judge. Then we would also talk about how an online judge works. Then, fast forward to that, we would also talk about how to practice, what is the time invested to practice, and what are the resources that we can use to practice. Okay, so let's move forward. So, most talked about thing is C++. So, if you are in C, okay, so how many of you are into C? Just can I have a quick +1 in the chat? How many of you are in C? You only know C. Other than that, you don't know anything.
Sorry to interrupt, sir. Uh,
Yeah, tell
sir,
me.
सर आपकी स्क्रीन विजिबल नहीं है
मेरी
एंड
screen
आपका
visible
कैमरा
है.
भी फ्रीज है.
Okay, just a sec. Okay. Now, am I priest or am I Indian? Can you just confirm?
सर इट्स स्टिल फ्रीज.
Okay, is it same for everyone else? Because I can see myself moving. Muhammad Adil, just confirm.
Sir,
Is it the
it's
same for?
visible now. Yeah.
Okay.
सर इट्स विजिबल नाउ.
Okay, am I visible?
यस सर, यस सर.
Yeah, sir.
Oh, okay, fair enough. That happens in online mode. Wish it could be in offline mode. Okay. So the next most talked about language is Java, and the third most talked about language is Python. Okay, fair enough. So, what is basically competitive programming? Okay, can anyone tell me what is competitive programming? Just the definition. You can go with the layman's definition also. I don't want the book's definition or the Google search, Google definition. Just the definition. Okay. Can anyone tell me what is competitive programming or what do you think is competitive programming? Muhammad Adil, you can be comfortable. Don't be so. You can be relaxed. Absolutely fine. Okay. So, anyone doesn't have any idea about competitive programming? D2 has a. I'm not muted. Someone is able to hear me and someone is telling me that we are muted. Okay. Can Abhay, can you allow everyone to unmute because it would be then more interactive if possible? If possible. Okay. So a sport for programmers. Yeah, very fair to the definition. Okay. Anything more? Anything more? Round table. What about you? Okay. Now everyone can unmute, I think. Okay. Fair enough. Okay, so we would start. So basically, competitive programming is nothing but taking programming sportingly. What do I mean? Suppose we are on a sports day. Okay, so the we do practice for the sports day, and then there is an event, and we need to cross that line in a stipulated time. Okay, suppose I was into 400 meters, so I would be telling you. So you need to take turns, okay, within the time, and the person reaching the first would be the person winning, and the person who has stumbled upon, who has fallen down, would be the person who would be having the penalty for that. Because if you stumble or if you fall down, you would need time to wake yourself up. Okay, this thing, the same thing happens here also. In competitive programming, you are given a set of problem set. Let's talk about code shift or the code forces and coder. You are given a set of A, B, C, and D problems. Now you need to solve all those problems in a stipulated time. Okay. Now suppose you are solving the A level problem, you got the idea, but when you implemented it, you missed a small case and you got a verdict of wrong answer. Okay. So this is the penalty that you need to pay. Okay. Now suppose your friend who was going to solve the A level problem was at ease and he solved without any wrong answer. So he would be ahead of you in terms of rank. Okay. Now, till this point, I should be clear. Then we would move forward and we would see how this online judges and all work. But before that, let us first talk about the selection of a programming language for competitive programming. So, in competitive programming, suppose we have a race, okay, and a person who runs the fast, okay, who do the reps the fastest, he would be the person who would be most considered. So talking about the execution time in terms of programming, C++ ranks one and Python ranks in last and Java ranks in between C++ and Python. Okay. Now the next thing why you should consider C++ is you should consider it because 80% of the competitive programming community uses C++. Okay. And then let's talk about the editorials too. Suppose you are not able to solve a particular problem, then you would require to see the editorials rather than Rather than annoying your girlfriend or your friend, you would require to see the editorials. Now, most of the times, not always, most of the times, please look into this word. Okay, most of the times the editorial will be in the language of C++. Other solution your friends will be coding in C++. The video editorials that would be referring to learn something, okay, that would be in C++. Competitive Programmer's Handbook, that is the most famous book, beginners friendly book, that is referred to learn competitive programming, is written in C++. Okay, fair enough. Yes, language is not a barrier. I know a person who can speak Bengali, okay, can too talk with other person, and a person who can speak Hindi can also talk. But C++ is kind of generalized way of communicating with the problems. Okay. Talking about Python in terms of measurement. Okay. Because you all are from TTU, you have grinded maths a lot. Okay. You have been a topper in maths in your school days. So let's talk about the measurements too. Talking about the measurements and the comparison ratio, if C++ takes 1 second to execute a program, then the same program would take 4 seconds to execute in Python. And Java would lie somewhere in between. Okay. And the next useful thing about C++ is the huge support of STL. What is STL? STL is a standard template library. Okay. Suppose, suppose I have a friend. Okay. I have a friend. So suppose his name is, let's take someone from here only. So suppose I have a friend named as Adil, okay, and Vaibhav has a friend named as Abdul. So now what happens is, Abdul is a person who is a kind of jugadu guy, okay. He has everything ready. Suppose he wants a watch, he wants to see, he wants to know the route to visit that park. He wants to know what is the location of of her crush. These all things are already there in Abdul, and you can directly use that information. Okay. So this is an example of STL where all the important terms, all the important things that are on the general basis are already available. If you want to sort an array, okay, you can already sort it by using sort a comma a plus n, a being the array itself, n being the size of the array. Okay, this can be done in C plus, this can be done in Python as well as Java. I'm not getting into that, but there are other more features too, and I would show you. Okay, but before that, let me talk about. Suppose my friend Adil is more into this GTO clubs and all, and he doesn't knows a lot of things. Okay, so whenever I ask him, he tells that do it yourself. Okay, I would accompany you, but you need to do it yourself. Okay, so the same thing needs to be done by me, and it needs to be implemented by me. Okay, suppose I want to use stack in C++, I can do that by just writing stack with a bracket mentioning the data type, suppose it is n, and then mentioning the type of, mentioning the name of the data structure. But if you are into C, then you need to implement the stack by yourself. Okay, and implementing the stack by yourself and then sprinting for the contest would take time. And suppose a person is already loaded with features and the person is not loaded with features. Okay, I know everything can't be accompanied done by these features only. You need to do things by yourself. You need to implement the algorithm by yourself. But if you have some extra features associated with a particular way, then you can avail it. Now let's talk about some more real life scenarios where directly C++ can be used. Okay, let's talk about this. Suppose we have this template. Okay, so this is nothing a simple template. Well, let's have an array of suppose 1 comma 1 comma 2 comma 3, and then size of the array is 3. So we have a do while loop. Okay, so what we would do is in here we would print the values. Okay, or let's use a for each loop to do this. Okay, for auto e of a. Okay, and then c out of e with an spacing thing, and then to differentiate between the arrays we would use and then. Okay, then what we would do is while next permutation is available for a comma a plus 3. Okay, this is by mentioning the iteratives. We won't talk about it because that is out of the scope of the syllabus. Okay, so let's just run it and you would see that this is all the permutations available for the array 1 to 3. Okay, we can print all those permutations that is available. And doing this in C++ is just by mentioning this thing. Okay, you can use next permutation to print the next permutation to alter the array. This is an in-place algorithm. Then you can print the previous permutation by using this. Okay, this is how you can do it. Okay, now just a bit of question here. So can you tell me what are the algorithms to be known to find all the permutations of a given string? What are the algorithms we need? Anyone can mute himself. This is an open forum now. What are the algorithms we need to know to print all the permutations of the given string? Or everyone knows what is a permutation of a particular string? Tell me, what is basically a permutation of 1, 2, 3? What is permutation of an array? Okay, so let's talk about permutation till the people are replying. Okay, permutation is nothing but the arrangement of the elements in another way. Okay, like 1, 2, 3 can be written as 2, 3, 1, can be written as 3, 2, 1, like okay, same thing. मतलब उसको घुमा फिरा दो फिर वही लिख दो कोई एलिमेंट्स को जोड़ घटाव मत करो that would be the permutation. Now tell me what are the algorithms that we need to print all the permutations of the given string? Tell me. What do you think we would need? Anyone who would like to say? Permutation is unique arrangement totals. Yeah, absolutely, Hemant. Anyone? So let me ask. Okay, so we can. So Abdul and Nawal. Okay, Abdul is here. Abdul, what about you? Backtracking. Okay, yeah. So basically, we got an idea. So we would move forward. We won't waste left and we won't waste much time. So to print the permutation, we want to know two things. That is recursion and then backtracking. Okay. So without knowing this recursion and backtracking, we are able to print all the permutations. That is the feature of this. So kind of abstraction you can say. Okay. This is why you should go move forward with C++. Now, the next thing, to what extent? So see, if you ask your seniors, when I was in my initial days, I asked a senior because my college is a tier 4 college. Okay. And I'm still a third year guy. Okay. I'm still in my sixth semester. So when I asked a senior of my college, he told that he's not that much experience. I don't have much competitive programmers from my college, just one or two. So I asked a person from IIT BHU. He told me that select a language, learn it, and do CP. Okay. But the thing that confused me was till what extent should I learn? Okay. Till what extent? So then I had to figure it out by myself. But what are the mistakes I made? Let's talk about the mistakes I made. We are all aware that there are different ways to download courses other than directly paying and a legitimate way. There are ways. So I did that way, got the courses, and I marked up 4 to 5 courses. Was learning BST, backtracking, dynamic programming, digit DP, Euler tool, many things, prime C's and all. But I was not getting a single idea out of it. I was not able to solve problems. Okay. It seemed that I was not made for it. Okay. Then what happened was, then I figured out that to know a language, it means that we need to learn the basic syntax of it. Now, what does the basic syntax and all include? Basic syntax includes input and output. Okay, like then you should know about the data types that there are int, strings, boolean, char. Okay, these are the. Then you should know about conditional statements. Conditional statements. Conditional statements. Then you should know about loops. What are the loops? The loops are for loop, while loop, and do while loop. I won't be mentioning it. Then the only next thing that is required is sorting. You can start from bubble sort and you can go till the insertion selection result sort. Okay. This is meant by knowing a particular language. This is meant by knowing a particular language. Quickly take a screenshot and then send me a one in the chat. Okay, send me quickly a one in the chat. Then we would move forward. Quickly take a screenshot, send me a one in the chat if you are getting it. quickly take a screenshot. Why? Because this would help you. I'm doing it for you. Okay. Been here, done that. So please take a screenshot, then you would simply move forward. I'm not telling you to note it down or something. Thanks a lot, Harsh, Atul, Saurabh. If we get one or two more people, at least 15-20%, then we would move forward. I'm not telling the whole mass. Okay? Quick question. Let's answer the quick question. I don't want to pursue. I'm more inclined towards dev and open source. I'm learning DSA to complement the skills. Currently, I'm implementing DSA in Go and Kotlin. What do you think about this choice of languages? Uh, so say Go and Kotlin won't be available in all platforms. Okay. I have been into HackerRank, I have been into CodeChef, I have been into many different sites, starting from Chinese to Indian. But not every time you would face this Go and Kotlin, okay? So just remind me at the end how to shift from these all languages after you have done a good amount of DSA. For now, don't hop into C++ or Java. I would tell you a way, okay? Uh, So let's just move forward with this. I hope I'm clear with this, at least to the 10% of the population. Now, what you should do is you should start practicing the problems of at coded. Okay, at coded ABC. Okay, then how many problems you should solve the A, B. First, you should solve all the B problems. Now, where to find those problems? Where to find the catalog of those problems? Okay, I will tell you a way to do that. Okay, go to this website, go to add coded problems, and then go to ABC. Okay, solve all the A level problems. How many problems to solve, how to solve, I would answer those. Okay, so this is all the A level problems, solve it. Till what extent, I would also tell you that also. Till then, let's just cross this and let me pass on this in the chat itself. Uh, Thanks a lot, Hemant Krish. Okay, please bookmark this. Okay. So now talking about till what extent and how many problems should you share. But before that, let me start off. Let me talk on. Let me tell my what I did. So when I started off, okay, I started off with CodeShip, but the problems were not that much great, okay, because there was no difficulty level mentioned. So what I did was I shifted to code forces and then I started doing all the 800 level problems, okay. But after a time period of 5 to 10 days, I was improving. So basically, who won't improve? If you wake up every day and if you start practicing your maths book in the first chapter itself, you would get a hang of it after 5 to 10 days. Same happened with me also. I was not that much blunt, a blunt that follows vague ideas. Okay, but I'm very so. Let's move forward with this. So what happened was I was solving the 800 level problems. I was getting the adrenaline rush out of it, and I solved it for the next 2 months. But the problem was I was gaining speed and accuracy, but I was not learning something out of it. I was not able to improve on the contest. Okay. So if you see my graph and all, so just let me search. Okay, so let me just open this. Then you will be able to see. Suppose let me go to the contest thing. So if you just see this part, okay, this part. So if you just see, I was sitting for 2 hours, but I was not able to solve a single problem. Okay, I was not able to solve a single problem. Okay. So it's at this point, it seems that competitive programming is not for me. But what happened was I was doing a mistake. Okay. The mistake was I was not getting out of my comfort zone. Okay, so let's talk about this. Okay, now what would you gain out of this thing? What scenario? What I told? Okay, so the learning that we have from my experiences. Suppose A level problems after doing A level problems, so suppose 5 to 10 days, you are able to solve majority of the problems in 15 to 20 minutes by yourself. Then what you should do is you should move to the B. Then see, this is how you would move forward. Okay. Now, how to solve problems? Even if you see today, let's take the example of today. See, I'm having timer and I'm solving the problems of the lead code. So I still have the timer. So how to make use of this timer thing? Have a timer of 15 minutes. Okay. Suppose you are trying a question and you're not able to get the logic or not able to implement it even after getting the logic, and you're completely blank for the next 15 minutes. See the first two lines of the editorial, then again two lines, and after saying 6 lines, you should see the whole editorial, but not the implementation. Even after reading the editorial, you are not able to implement, then say the implementation. Okay. So have been talking for the last half an hour. So can I have a quick follow-up that you are following up or not? And you are able to get what I'm telling or not? Send me a quick one in the chat. Quick one, then we would move forward. I won't waste your time. I'm not telling you to write yes or no. Just quick one, then we would move forward. Quick one. Okay. Many people are following up. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. It means a lot. Okay. So let's move forward. So suppose till what extent? Till suppose you are able to do majority of the problems. Yes, some problems, some in some context, the problems might be hard. You would require to see the editorials, but majority of the problems you are able to do it. Okay, 15-20 minutes. How to solve the problem? By using timer, by making use of the timer. But try to develop your own way of coding, your own way of using macros and all. Okay. Now let's move forward with the next thing: how to learn. So I told you how to practice. Then we would talk about how to perform. But let's talk about how to learn. Okay. Suppose I told you that these are the questions solved. But how to learn and where to learn, from where to learn. Okay. So talking about this, how to learn. Suppose you were solving the A level problem, but you were not able to do that. Saw the editorial and you saw that there is a mentioning of something known as prime C. Okay. There are two scenarios that would pop out of this. One is I already knew, okay. One is I don't knew. That is just a no. If you knew, okay, if you knew, suppose you knew that your crush is sitting at that place, but you were not able to approach her. This means that you need to practice upon approaching her. The same goes here also. If you knew prime seed and you were not able to solve this problem, then this boils down to the fact that you need to practice upon this topic. Okay, to solve that particular question, solve more problems over prime seed, then continue your. Now, the next scenario, which is the most important one, that is, I don't knew this topic. What you need to do is, you need to leave this question as of now, go and search prime seed. Where you would go search prime seed and where you do learn, I will tell you that also. You go and learn prime seed, practice 5 to 10 questions, again come back and solve this question. Now, what are the things you gained out of it? You would either gain practice or you would either learn a new thing. After doing a certain part of practice, you would be able to solve that question. Okay. Now, where to learn from? Okay. So this is a kind of newly based website. Okay. So I would now tell you again a scenario. Then send me a one if you already knew this scenario. Okay. So in the ancient history, what happened was, okay, we have many religions, okay. We have Islamic religion, we have Hindu religion, we have the Punjabi religion, what is Sikh religion, sorry. We have Jainism religion, okay, every religion, okay. Now, what happened is every religion has its pros and cons. We won't be talking because this is not the agenda of this meeting is not that. But let's talk about a king known as Akbar. What Akbar did was he compiled all the good things from each of the religion, compiled it into a single entity, and made a religion out of it. His idea was not successful. But if you talk about, see, every religion has its own pros and cons. But if we only take the pros from every religion, then every religion would be having a very great significant effect out of it. The same thing we would do here also. Okay, but this is a new website, but I found this gem. Okay, this website suppose we go to the silver one. Okay. So suppose you go and go to the two pointers. Okay. So you go, suppose let's go to the binary search because it is very frequent in competitive programming as well as in DS. You go to binary search. You see this website has compiled all the good resources from the internet. Okay. So it has resources from CS Academy, it has resources from Competitive Programmers Handbook, I told you. Then it has Code Forces, then it has Khan Academy, USACO Guide, then it has Top Coder, then it has even the other plugin. Then it has a video tutorial attached. Okay. Then how many of you know this guy? This guy sitting here. How many of you know this guy and can name this guy? Okay. So now you would also get explanation of itself. Then you would also get practice problems for it. Okay. See, all the practice problems are listed here. That is why, and all the resources mentioned are free here. That is why I kind of love this website. Okay. So let me give you the link to this also. Okay. I hope this you would get a lot of out of it. Okay. And there are different levels out of it. Silver, bronze, gold, platinum, and these all things. Okay. Make good amount of use of it. See, everyone has access to the resources. Everyone has a mind. Everyone has the will to work hard. But if you work hard with some amount of smart work, you would be the one easy because see, everyone is running. Okay, you just need to quickly go. So please save this and bookmark this website for resources and that one for practice. Okay. So now till this point, we have talked about how to practice, where to learn, how to learn. These all things has been covered. Next thing what we need to consider is where to perform. Okay. We now know, suppose we are in a, suppose we went to the gym, we wanted a lean body out of it. I had some deadlifts and all, and then I had a lean body. Now I want to do perform somewhere. To perform somewhere, you should start off from where you begin. You should start off with the ABC contest on at Coder. Okay, and most of the times it is at 5:30 p.m. IST. Okay, most of the times. Then you should also start off with starters. Okay, on CodeShip. Most of the time it is at 8 p.m. IST. Then you should also start off with div 3 on code forces. Most of the time it is at 8505 p.m. IST. Okay. These all are the platforms that you should start performing. Okay. Even if you don't gain rating and all, but you would be able to perform well. Okay. Fair enough. So now, after doing practice over 15 to 20 days, you want this fun to continue and you want to intensify this fun. Okay. So what you would do is you would also add div 3, div 2 of code forces, 8.5 again, and lunchtime and cook off on code shift. Now, many of you in the initial days would have a problem. Let's see, Siddharth, I'm able to think of a particular approach, I'm able to implement it. But जब तक मैं implement कर रहा हूँ, तब तक time चला जा रहा है. Translating this into English, I'm able to get the idea, I'm able to solve the problem, but till the point I'm able to solve the problem, the timer is already gone and the contest is already ended. So what should I do? We should start participating in long challenge on coaching. Earlier it was 10 days when I was participating. Now it is of 4 days. Okay. So this is how you should do it. Okay. So till this point, now you so talking about roadmap. Okay. Many people would ask you what are the roadmap. Then we will talk about the famous mistakes that I did and what you can learn out of it. Okay. So talking about the roadmap, to be honest, you don't need a roadmap. Why? Because if I would give you a roadmap that yes, you need to do prime seed, you need to do GCD. Okay, these all stuffs you won't be able to implement it, and gradually you will forget it. Okay, so what you need to do is, as you keep practicing, the problems that you have, the learnings that you need, keep doing it, keep enjoying it, the process, and you would yourself get a roadmap out of it. Okay, that is the most easiest way that you can do it. Okay, let's talk up. So, am I clear till this point or not? Now we would talk about the mistakes that I did and what you can learn out of it. Okay, quickly send me a one if I'm clear with all this. And if you have any doubts, quickly send it in the chat or unmute yourself. Quickly, quickly. Thanks a lot, Hardik. Hardik जैसा कोई और है जिसको समझ में आया? Thanks a lot, Priyanshu. Thanks a lot, Abdul. Vaibhav and all. Thanks a lot, Vaibhav. Okay, Vaibhav is also listening. Okay. What about lead code? Yeah, we will talk about it. Okay. Okay. Fair enough. So let's talk about lead code also, because one person asked me, and it would be very unfair if I don't talk about it. So let me just now stop sharing my screen and then quit this, and then we will talk about it. Okay. So talking about competitive programming is more inclined towards the problem solving aspect of it, out of it. Okay. That is why, that is why you should revolve around those competitive programming sites only. But if you're talking about lead code and stuff, lead code is DSA heavy. Yeah, I too do lead code because I'm in the third year. I need to set for placements. So after you have done a good amount of problem solving, then DSA and all would seem very easy to you. Okay. And I have connections. Okay, I have connections. I have talked with people that they didn't even do lead code and all. Okay, they directly got a job in Google. Okay, even if it is not feasible, leave it. Okay, so what you can do is, first you can improve on the problem solving part, then you can move forward with this DSA thing. But if you're already in your third year, or if your internship season is coming, then what you can do is you can start off with the most solve count on the 100 most liked question. Then you can move to company-wise stats, the company you're targeting and all. Then you can do some SD sheets and all. I'm not going into that debate at which SD sheet is best or not. You can do a Google search, simply do a Google search, and you will get out of it. Okay. So am I clear, B? So now let's talk about the mistakes I did. Talking about the mistakes I did, you need to know about. So let's talk about why do we need algorithms. Okay, everyone talks about DSA, data structures and algorithm, data structures and algorithm. Why do we need algorithms? We need algorithms to amplify over the space or the time complexity. Most of the time it would be on time complexity. Okay, so basically if you want to search the largest subarray cell, it can be done by simply using a for loop, and that approach would be n square. But if you do that using Cadence algorithm, that would be big O of n. That is what? That is an improvement over the time complexity. So whenever you want to improve upon the brute force, you need the algorithms. Okay. So next thing what I did was, I want a +1 for those who have already committed this. I was the one who believed this for around 3 to 4 months in my coding journey. What I did was, I learned about time complexity, and I learned that online compilers have a way of measurement that they execute 10 to the power 8 operation in 1 second. Okay, so whenever I saw a question that mentioned that we have 2 seconds time limit, I thought that I can perform 10 to the power 16 operation rather than 2 into 10 to the power 8 operation. I don't know how many of you have been there. Send me a quick +1 if you have made this mistake. So 2 seconds does not mean that it is 10 to the power 16. Rather, it only means that it is 2 into 10 to the power 8. Okay. So fair enough. I don't think that anyone made the mistake this lame like me. Okay. This was the basic all around thing mistake I did. And the next mistake I did was wasted a lot of time trying to find a coding partner. Okay, we have all heard that we need a coding buddy or something. Then we can discuss this ideas and all. But what I did was, in the process of persuading my friend, If I had invested that time practicing questions, I would have improved more. But I am happy with whatever I am. So for the internships or jobs or in job interviews, do we need a particular certificate from any institution for DSA, or they will just see the skills? So let's talk about institutions. Suppose Jhumri Talaiya Institute of Technology, Jhumri Talaiya Institute of Computer. You went to that, paid an amount of 10,000 or 12,000, got a certificate out of it. You don't know anything, and you showed it to your interview. But if you're not able to prove that, then there is no use of that. Just socho. If you're not able to justify that thing, then there is no use to that. But if you are able to justify your knowledge, then the people would hire you. Why would they hire them? But talking about certifications, because certification, which to be honest are considered in job and interviews, are the code shift certifications. Why? Because they are on site. It is not online. Okay. So if you are on good with the CP and problem solving, we can consider giving that. Okay. So now we have a time frame of 7 minutes. Okay. So if you have any doubts, quickly ask your doubts. Okay. And then we would move forward to the closing ceremony, would take a screenshot, and then I would leave this and I won't allow you after that. Okay. Okay. By the way, Vaibhav, is the give? Do you have giveaway, or this is not a giveaway, or do I need to check? Do you want me to check
Uh,
on my end?
if you can check, sir, please.
Okay, that's absolutely fine. I will quickly check this.
I don't think it is.
Yes. No, 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 no. It is not. Mm, Yeah. Yeah. Thanks a lot, Hardik, for reminding me. So let's talk about Go and Kotlin then. Okay. So suppose what happened was I started off with Java. Why Java? Why not? Why do companies prefer CodeShift and Kotlin? I would talk about this also. So talking about, I started off with Java. Why I started off with Java? Because, but I'm referencing that we should start off with C++. I started off with Java because I was from a ICSE background, and we ICSE background know the basics of Java from ninth grade. Okay, so I started off with Java. Then I found out that I need to write a lot, and everything is same, but I need to write a lot, and it takes a lot of time to do that. So I shifted to C++. Now talking about the problems I faced in shifting was only the syntax. Suppose you talk in Hindi, कैसे हो? I talk in English, how are you? And then my mother, I belong from Bengali family. So we tell that, yeah, কেমন আছো? So everything, the content is same, the algorithm is same, the data structure is same. Okay, vectors in C++, array list in Java, same thing. Okay, so only you need to know all these differences. Okay, just this difference, and then you can move from one language to another. Okay, by within a time span of 10 to 12 days. But why I'm not telling to move from this point to this time? Because you will face some difficulty. So you have just started off and you have increased the pace by learning. So why to take a break over that? You can continue over that pace, and then when you have learned a significant amount, then you can simply switch over to C and C++, and it will be more easy. Do companies prefer code shift or code forces? So companies don't prefer either of them. They prefer problem solving and with data structures and algorithm mixed with. And if there are, so I heard about a interview experience where they didn't even ask DSA, but there are only fewer. Okay. So I have been told that after learning DSA, we need a little bit of practice every day. Then we can move into something different. I want to learn DSA and web development later. Will that be beneficial or just sticking to one? Okay, so I can answer this perfectly. Why? Because my role is a React developer in Geeksforgeeks, and I have been into this JavaScript and all for many months. Okay, but talking about this in the first scenario, दो नाव पे पैर रखोगे ना, तो it would be very difficult for you because initially you would be fighting with your brain, you would be giving contests, you would be practicing. So in the initial process, you are not preferred or you are not told that you shouldn't keep your legs on two boats. Okay, Rather start off with DSA, okay, and then after doing a significant amount, then took up web development, take up AI, take up machine learning, because everyone needs projects on it. Okay. So what you can do is, as of now, till suppose make a promise to yourself, till I'm not reaching 4 star, I won't be starting off with the tech stacks. So after you have reached a significant amount of DSA or problem solving, then you can move forward with this web development thing. Then you would see that when you, after learning HTML or CSS, when you would learn the JavaScript, you would see the same thing. Arrays is also there. Just data types are not there. Let var and const are there. Then moving forward, we still have the sorting thing. We still have functions. So it would be more easy for you. So I did a lot of DSA in Java from October to Jan and got a little burned out. So I started web development. Is that fine? Yeah, it is absolutely fine. But don't leave that practice, because there is more pain involved in coming back. When you would lose your energy, when you would lose your power, it would just eat you up. You won't be able to sleep. Okay, when your friends would be giving you questions, that Gulati bhai, please इसे solve कर दो ना, तुम्हें तो आता ही होगा, बहुत easy है. And you, when you start solving that question, when you will find out that I'm not able to crack it, it would be so bad. Trust me, it would hurt you a lot, because you already have that image out of you. Okay, can you share your socials? So I am having Instagram with 67 followers. So my Insta ID is, let me see. I think Pit Coder, but what is the exact? I don't even know. Okay. So fitcoder.jpeg. Okay. So consider raging my followers. JPEG. This is my Insta handle. Okay, fair enough. So my name is Siddharth Hazra. SID. Okay, I will type it. Okay, SIDDHA You can search this name over LinkedIn. Okay, and you can send me a request over here. Now I will be into robotics for my masters. DSA would help me, right? So I don't know, but DSA would definitely help you if you want to get a job. If you want to do PhD and all, so if you are into robotics, that means you are into ECE. So why not do some internships? So see, everyone needs a backup plan, to be honest. It might not be the case that you are into higher studies. Suppose at the last point of time, you think that I should take a job and then I should start off with this higher studies. At that point of time, you would require DSA. Okay, definitely. The second scenario, there is no future that you would be in robotics only. I thought that I would be in army, Indian army. Okay, I thought, and I ran for it. I fought with my parents, everything I did. Then I thought that I would be a footballer. I was not able to do it. Now I am hearing. Now I am sitting here telling you CP. So no one knows the future. So be little bit prepared that even if you fall down, you won't fall down to the ground. Okay, just have some backup plan. Yeah, that's great, Priyanshu. Okay, any more queries we have? Still have 2 minutes to cater. Okay, fair enough. So, so let me see other person. Pratik Chauhan, we have got Punya. Okay, there are so there are one, two, three, four. Okay, there are four presenters, and the organizer itself is the roundtable DTU. His name is only roundtable DTU. Okay, fair enough. So let me just see the chats. Okay, so all the contents are for practice. Yeah, absolutely, and they all are free. Okay, no paid promotions and all. Okay, fair enough. So what is the significant amount of DSA we need to learn before we shift to DEMS? So you should at least, if you talk about competitive programming, you should at least gain 3 to 4 star. If you talk about read code, you should at least go till the memorization, the solving DP problems with memorization. At least this point. Because see, if you are moving into dev, after see, first you would learn the basics. Then you would do some projects. Then you would find out that I need some internships. To sit for internships, you would require DSA. Okay. Then don't prolong that part. Directly sit for placement. Okay. and don't really help in placements directly. So all contests are for practice and don't really help in placements directly. They won't help you in placements directly, but when you would sit for your online assessments, you would know that this is the best thing that ever happened to me, this contest thing. Trust me. Okay. Because contest is a one level up than your online assessment. What is the recommended point in code forces for a good package? I have seen people being a pupil and cracking job in Google. I have seen people without having an account on any competitive programming site cracking a very good job in Google. So competitive code forces, your code forces point is nothing to be considered. But if you are a specialist in code forces, at least you have a good hold over data structures and algorithms. Okay, fair enough. I see no more doubts popping in. So any more rituals to be done other than my final note, Bhagat, or I'm done?
No, sir. I think all the doubts are being cleared, so you can conclude.
Okay, fair enough. So the last point, I would be taking a screenshot, but only the two people with their video turned on. It would be a little bit, it would seem boring. So can one or two of you just turn on your video if possible? Thanks a lot, Hardik. Okay, can I have more people, please? Seems like people would. Thanks a lot, Priyanshu.
Others can
Thanks a
also
lot.
turn on your
Please,
camera.
Viragi, if you are
Yeah, yeah,
possible.
what? What? Okay, fair enough. We have a lot of people. Okay, so by the way, someone Hardik, you are sitting here and using Insta. Okay, fair enough. So we have any more the guys popping in? Okay, so let's take a screenshot out of this. That's great. Thanks a lot. Okay, it was great interacting with you. Keep up the touch on LinkedIn. Okay, okay. Then we can just talk about and chit chat. Okay. So I am leaving now. Then
Thank you, sir, for the session. We are very pleased to
yes,
have you. It was very
thanks a lot.
informative.
Yes,
It was an honor being here. Thanks a lot.
that's a
I
great
will.
intro. And thanks a lot for your precious time for us and spread your knowledge with us.
थैंक्स अ लॉट बट अगले बार से इस ग्रुप से इस कॉलेज से अगर कोई भी सर बुलाया मैं उसे ब्लॉक ही कर दूंगा सर नहीं हूँ भाई मेरा सिद्धार्थ बुलाओ गाली दो तेरे करो हो गया क्लास हो गया सेशन था सर बोल लिया हो गया अब तेरे करो हो गया बाय बाय एवरीवन
Okay.